Sometimes life doesn't just get tough. It completely shatters. And when it does, it brings up this huge question. A question that's explored in this ancient story that honestly feels like it could have been written yesterday. It can start just like this. You're just sitting there, alone. And the silence is just so loud. You glance over at your phone. Nothing. It's dead quiet. And the people you were so sure would be there for you, well, they're not reaching out. And it's not like one little plan went wrong. Nope. The whole thing. Everything you were building, everything you were counting on, it all just collapsed. It's gone. And this is the part that really stings, isn't it? Because you feel like you did everything right. You tried to be a good person, you trusted the process, and this is the result? For what? And so you ask a question you probably never thought you would. And it's not coming from a place of anger or some big rebellion. It's just pure bottom-of-the-barrel exhaustion. God, why? If that feeling sounds at all familiar, you are absolutely not alone. Thousands of years ago, a man named Job went through this exact kind of collapse, and his story can feel like looking in a mirror. So the before and after for Job is just staggering. He wasn't just some average guy. He was the guy. Faithful, wealthy, respected. People literally pointed to him as the definition of a life well lived. He had it all. And then suddenly, he didn't. And the collapse itself was brutal and unbelievably fast. Imagine getting the worst possible news, and then before you can even process it, another messenger runs in with something even worse. There was just no time to breathe. It was wave after wave of devastation, until finally, even his own body gave out. But see, the story isn't just about what Job lost. It's about the sheer weight of what he felt. And this is where his ancient pain becomes incredibly, and maybe even a little uncomfortably, relatable. This is one of the rawest lines in the whole story. And look, this isn't a sign of weak faith. This is a cry of honest, profound human pain. This is what it sounds like when suffering goes so deep that words and simple explanations just completely fail. And as if all the physical suffering wasn't enough, then came the emotional isolation. His friends show up, but instead of offering comfort, they bring theories. They bring accusations. You must have done something wrong. This has to be your fault. Even his wife, just overwhelmed, tells him to give up. Have you ever been there, hurting like that and feeling completely misunderstood? And this is the real heart of it. Job's cries, his questions, they weren't really about getting his old life back. He was wrestling with something so much deeper. Underneath all that pain, the real question was, God, do you even see me? Are you still there? When everything falls apart, that's the real question, isn't it? And then we get to the turning point of the entire story. God responds. But the answer is not at all what Job or any of us would have expected. This is the incredible shift. See, Job was expecting an explanation. He wanted a list of reasons, a step-by-step plan for why all this happened. But he doesn't get that. Instead of an explanation for the pain, God gives him a revelation of his presence. It's not a list of reasons, it's a reason to trust. The core message is basically this. You might not understand the why behind what's happening, but you can always trust the who that is with you in it. And that is such a profound change in perspective. Now let's be super clear here. His source didn't magically disappear. His life wasn't instantly fixed. What changed was internal. Job's perspective shifted. He realized that even in the silence, even sitting in the ashes, God had been there the entire time. So, what does this ancient story mean for you? Sitting in your own version of that dark room right now, how do we actually apply this? Well, Job's story gives us a whole new definition of faith. It's not about being perfect or never having doubts. Real faith is messy. It's about making the choice to trust even when your hands are shaking. So this means feeling broken doesn't mean your faith is broken. Crying out in pain doesn't push God away. In fact, that kind of honest, trembling faith, it's often the only thing left standing when everything else has been knocked down. And maybe the most powerful lesson of all is this. Sometimes, The moment that feels like the absolute end is actually the beginning of a much deeper kind of trust, a trust that isn't based on your circumstances, but on the very character of God.
So if you are in that place where nothing makes sense and your heart is just heavy, remember Job. Remember that God wasn't missing in action during his pain, and he is not missing in yours.
Even when you can't see it, even when you can't feel it, even when all you can do is whisper why, the ultimate answer of Job's story is the simplest one there is. He is still there.